The other thing that hits me is, that danger, supposed Chinese symbol that really means crisis or opportunity. And so very much of how it's just true in the world. These things that are so difficult and crises and tragedies and often create growth.
But yeah, getting laid off was a growth moment. And now my husband's position is being eliminated. And it's like, oh, that's a growth moment. But that's also going to be maybe an opportunity for me too.
This is The Growth Moment with your coach, Amy Kay. Inspiration, ideas, and incredible insights for you to be more and do more. Get ready to grow today. This episode is for you if, like my guest, you are experiencing a career ending, a layoff, firing, your position or department eliminated, even a complete company shutdown. Or perhaps it's a different kind of crisis, challenge, or difficulty. Financial, health, identity, relationship. The point today is looking at how it can be a growth moment. Learning to find the opportunity, possibilities, and potential right in the midst of calamity. In the intro clip, I mentioned that Chinese concept, how the word for crisis contains symbols that represent both the challenge aspect or danger, but also opportunity. There is even a poetic proverb, a crisis is opportunity riding on a dangerous wind. What a profound thought. It immediately opens up my thinking to go beyond a black and white mindset into a deeper dive with layers of possibility. This is the heart of the episode today. Crisis transforming into opportunity. My guest is Keva Dine. Keva is a dynamic, bold, and wonderfully unique human. She is the expert creative recruiter with 23 years experience placing top talent. She has launched thousands of careers, agencies, and brands. I was fortunate to get her for this Growth Spotlight episode. The Spotlight format is when I ask my guest to pick a growth moment from their past, unpack it, and then contemplate where they can use those lessons learned today. It's still a coaching kind of conversation, but entering in from a different angle. As always, listen for the insights and inspiration that you need today, especially if you have a crisis of your own, whether career or otherwise. I hope you can find a shift in your perspective and new opportunities, possibilities, and potential. We start after I ask Keva what growth moment she picked to spotlight.
A growth moment for me has happened a couple times, and that has been I have been laid off, or in one instance, I was eliminated. And the reason that growth moment is coming up for me is that this just happened to my husband 2 weeks ago. However, in both of the instances for me, doors, and not just a door, but like hallways of doors opened up for me that probably I wouldn't have maybe never even knocked on before if I hadn't been propelled into that uncomfortable and awkward state. So that's been on my mind a lot lately. Those were some really powerful growth moments for me, then led me to have consultancy jobs at Contempo and Wet Seal. That led me to taking a startup job at a .com in the 90s, which was totally pivotal to my experience, which led me to getting a book deal with HarperCollins, which led me to getting an advertising job, which led me to getting recruited to be an agent, which led me to getting laid off again, which led me to starting my agency, which I'm still running 23 years later.
Just wow. A couple of things. I almost see these stepping stones or leaps or, and all the dots connecting almost like a lit up path that looking back is quite extraordinary.
Yeah. But scary.
Yeah. But the other thing that hits me is, that danger, supposed Chinese symbol that really means crisis or opportunity. And so very much of how it's just true in the world. These things that are so difficult and crises and tragedies and often create growth.
Yeah, getting laid off was a growth moment. And now my husband's position is being eliminated. And that's a growth moment. But that's also going to be maybe an opportunity for me too, because we, cohabitate.
Well, that's what I'm curious about is, so going back to those previous times where you were eliminated, you were laid off.
Yeah.
What are the biggest Keva lessons from those moments that allowed you to take it from, danger to opportunity, crisis to opportunity?
Well, I have always been this person that just sticks their necks out, and I'm not shy. And I try not to get too much of that imposter syndrome. They didn't even call it that, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. When I was laid off, other doors opened. I would just go for it.
So part of your way to grow is that you have this willingness to step off the cliff to a certain extent, to go for it, to try. Definitely a willingness to risk.
A willingness to risk. And it's something that I coach on now when I do my personal branding audits to people that come to me, which is something I do on the side of recruiting because I love it and I'm so good at it. Recruiting is the core, but these growth moments, it's like, my second job when I was laid off, I had been recruited to be an agent. I remember I took the job and it was the most corporate role I'd ever had. And I thought it was just really weird. There were so many layers of managers and regional managers and district managers. And I'm like, what? I'd always worked for startups. But I walk into this office and they wanted me to launch and run and grow the creative practice for this global staffing company and run the San Diego division. And they had tried to get somebody to do the job before that literally walked out on the job. And so I walk into this room. Oh, and by the way, I was referred to the company by somebody I had worked with before that recommended and said, if you're going to do San Diego, you got to call Keva. So again, connections, and that's a growth moment too. But I walk into this office, into this room, and literally there's like piles of paper and their resumes lined all around the big room. It was like this rad office space and brick walls, big windows. And there was pile here, pile there. There must have been like 47 piles, and each pile had like hundreds of resumes. And I remember walking in there and they're like, here you go. And I look at the resumes and they were all out of order and nobody showed me what to do. I just knew what to do. I knew that we had to reorganize and resort. And then once I resorted, I started going through the resumes and I knew who to call. What happened with this job is that I was laid off and I knew it was coming. This was my second time. So they called me up and they said, let's have a meeting, come up to the other office, end of day. And I'm like, I know. And I was all prepared. I dressed really well. I had my power skirt on, and I had my folders and I knew what I was going to say. And the corporate people sat me down and they said, I don't know. They must have said something. And I said, I know you're laying me off. And they said, Keva, you don't really need us. You could just do this.
Nothing like getting the big message on your way out of like from the universe, God, whatever, of, oh, by the way, as you leave, you've got this. You can just go do this.
They said, we'll just send everyone to you because we're going to close the division down, but you don't need us.
What are the big lessons from those moments for you? I'm hearing the trusting that you've got this, knowing what you know, knowing your value. And almost a transformation of, you think it has to happen here, but actually I can live my purpose over here.
Yeah. I mean, the growth moment was that I had everything I needed and I had learned everything I needed to learn to launch this agency. I already knew it. I just needed to organize it. And I had learned all the different pieces through the previous roles I had had at different companies. And I just needed to just get get to work.
In this weird way, when that door closes, I mean, you are so almost told, by the way, here's the open door over there. We're closing this, but you should know there's a huge open door for you over there. But less of us when these big things happen of looking, I mean, you got to have a little bit of grief, a little bit of mourning, whatever one needs to close. But this, don't look backwards going, oh, why can't I stay here? Why don't I have this? As opposed to, how is it perfect that I'm moving on now?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's hard. The first role I was kicked out of, that was hard to move on from.
So what makes it hard as opposed to this, and even giving advice to others who are in similar situations? Where's the empathy that we both can have of why it's so damn hard sometimes to be let go, to get riffed? Keva talks about the hallways of doors that opened in her various career crisis moments. How, yes, it's uncomfortable, awkward, disconcerting, even devastating. And yet, the doors are there. This is personal for me. I've been laid off several times and straight up fired once. Not unusual in startups, which was my past life career, but increasingly common across all kinds of companies today. Like Keva, doors opened up that I never would have considered, including becoming a coach. Looking back, I see all the stepping stones, one leading to the other. I'm able to appreciate the magnitude and magnificence of the journey, the dots connecting. What about you? Have you experienced a career crisis? Or are you experiencing one right now? Or are you working through a non-career crisis? Health, relationship, financial, even identity. Are you only seeing the crisis? Or is there opportunity here? Gosh, might there be at least one door opening or a whole hallway of doors for you? Where might the Keva lessons, the go for it attitude, and willingness to risk fit for you? And of course, you always have permission for the feelings, the shock, anger, grief, anxiety, depression, all of it. But there is something about owning the crisis, deciding that you will find the opportunity, not just being positive, but determined to leverage the moment. For now, just let the thoughts roll around and grab any insights or inspiration so far. We jump back in as Keva responds to my question of, why is it so damn hard when we get laid off or let go?
Because when you build something, sometimes you're not ready for it to be over. It's about letting go of that dream. And the first company that I helped create, I was kicked out of because the owner decided to go in a different direction and I didn't have ownership. So I had a lot of growth moments from that. Always own everything you create.
Right.
Don't give everything away unless you own it.
Some hard lessons, in quotes, those can be really tough ones to learn because there's a coulda, shoulda, woulda, feeling.
Yeah. It's about that dream. Yeah. If you're building something that you don't own and you have a vision of what you envision it being and growing and evolving, but you don't own it, you always have to kind of have a protective layer around yourself.
Or just this knowledge that you might get to help grow it and you might not.
Right. You might not to get to see it through, which is what's happening with my husband. So I have so much empathy for that. And when I coach on things like this, when are you ready? When is somebody ready to step out of what they've helped build? Sometimes it's really hard to step away from something you helped build if you own it and you built it all. Sometimes it's really hard to know when to step away.
So, these layoffs, firings, et cetera, are, forced conversions versus the helping somebody recognize, yes, when they're ready. Keva, you said a little bit earlier that this might be an opportunity for you as well. How so? If you take all the lessons that you've learned, not just to help your husband, but to help yourself at this moment of transition.
So as things become maybe potentially uncertain for my husband or less stable, then some things I've been thinking about doing but haven't gotten around to yet, why not activate it now? Why not even take more risks? I have nothing to lose. Why not think about doing business slightly differently? I have nothing to lose. Who knows if we move? I can live anywhere. That's kind of an adventure. We shall see. Instead of being freaked out about it, it's kind of neat. And the other thing that's really speaking to me with how I'm being affected by my husband's own sort of change is that as I become more experienced as a recruiter, I realize I have so much to say. And I have so much to offer through the lens of my recruiter seat that helps every level of creative and marketing professional, like junior to SVP to executive to company owner. I am really, really good at seeing how they present their work and their brand. And if they're stuck, helping them get to their next level. My coaching clients do this for brands and companies. They're really well known. I mean, you probably are eating or drinking or looking or using some products that my people have created or done. And they do it all day long. But when it comes to doing it for yourself, we have our blinders on and I can be an extra them. And it is fascinating. It is so cool to help them through that reshaping. And so I don't know, just like I'm seeing that as an opportunity. I'm loving doing that. And I want to be able to offer my intel and insights even more.
So how is this situation with your husband almost catalyzing or galvanizing for you?
I updated his LinkedIn, with his help, and his resume.
Right.
With his help. And he has had 17 interviews. He has had 3 walking dates, 1 coffee date.
So you're seeing just how damn good you are with your husband. Not just with your other client.
And this is the thing, this is like the second.
Look at the ROI. I did this and look what you're getting.
Yeah. Hundreds of comments, hundreds of DMs.
Wow. Wow.
It's that personal branding. And I love talking about this. It's okay, so here's a growth moment. Here's an opportunity. Here's a door. I'm actually really good at this. And look, watch out, honey,
So Keva, hopefully you do wonders with your husband and you partner up with this and he's going to have fantastic opportunities.
Well, he's a rock star all on his own. He doesn't really need me. I'm just giving him a little boost.
But if we go, all right, and this moment is also for you, how far do you want to take this? What are some open doors that are there and you need to walk through and stick your neck out? I definitely have experienced what Keva spoke of, the not ready to let go of the dream, being so disappointed that I didn't get to finish what I had poured my heart and soul into. Both forced conversions and those times when I chose to step away. And this goes not just for companies or jobs, but marriages, friendships, creative vision, or dreams and more. What is hard for you in your crisis or challenge? Where can you use some of the Keva attitude of, instead of being freaked out about it, it's kind of an adventure? Is the crisis necessarily all bad? How can there be room for some liberation, catalyst, or galvanizing energy? There definitely can be a wake up call inherent in a crisis. If you choose to look for opportunities to grow in your moment, what do you see? That's what I want for you, the possibility of transformation. To look around with curiosity, liberation, and even expectation of a hallway of doors. To recognize or remember your value. To stick your neck out, to go for what might be next. We come back right after I asked Keva what open doors she needs to walk through now.
So a couple years ago, Stanford called and they wanted me to come speak to their design students, women in design. I think it was called SWID, Stanford Women in Design Students. That was cool. And then a couple other people tapped me to talk about maybe some portfolio reviews, but I was really busy with placing jobs. Right now, it's not as busy with placing jobs, which is kind of a freak out moment, but again, to those doors. So I feel like this is an opportunity for me to take that more seriously, wrap a little bit more structure around these talks or messaging or delivery, and charge.
And is it just talks messaging, or are there service packages, additional product, etc., for this wealth of expertise that you have at this point?
All of it. So when I have spoken before, it's been pro bono. I will not do that again. When I've sat on boards before, it's been pro bono. I will not do that again. I am open to a paid board role because I have so much to add, so much to give. I am open to speaking, but I need to be compensated for my time. And because my time is limited and because my time is valuable and because I have other things to do, my framework has changed. I don't need to do these things, but I like to do them, but they need to be worth my time. And so the opportunity is to create a framework around it where people pay me for my time if they want that. And they should, because I got a lot to say.
You know, just to talk with you for your insight, your perspective, your connections, your creativity, period.
Okay, I have a fun fact. So I was doing a little math because I was talking to somebody else about, sending some messaging out that I was doing online about, my services and my agency. And I did a little monkey math. And this was monkey math. I mean, this was probably a lowball estimate, but I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on my calculator or like pulling up my reports because I've done business for a long time. But lowball estimate, I have been responsible for 30 million in salaries generated. Probably more.
There's something to put on the website and in your LinkedIn.
Right?
I mean, you cut through so much bullshit, right? I mean, you're able to take someone from this place to that place.
They don't always do it. That's the thing with creatives. And so creatives aren't going to take advice from somebody they don't see as creative. So I am creative. I get talent. I do have talent, and I'm not afraid to say it.
What's going to help you most coming out of this coaching conversation and this growth moment of, is it identifying the doors? Is it just a commitment to, so when are you walking through those doors? Clearly what you're walking through with in your hands is a lot of, I don't know, respect for your value, confidence in your value, but it also feels like almost a next level packaging, if you will, or taking so much of what you just do all the time almost for free and turning that into more revenue streams.
I have a handful of clients that have my agency on retainer. They are my favorite clients because they value talent.
And just having you on the team, having you at their disposal.
Right. So they have me on retainer to just be looking for the talent.
So Keva, if you can have it the way you want it, going forward through the next level open doors, taking this opportunity of shift in your family to go, damn it, I'm going to just really do this the way I want now. How many retainer clients do you want? Or that could be homework of tell us, exactly what you want. Tell the universe exactly what you want.
So I want a dozen retainer clients ongoing, each of them probably a year, if not 2-year contracts. And then when they're ready to make a hire, the people that I send them, then I make a placement fee in addition to that retainer.
Right. There's upselling.
Yeah. And if I have, recruiters on my team, then they also get commissions. So everyone's happy. And I would like to also do the personal branding coaching, 1 to 2 a month, and the occasional paid speaking event, or have me sit on a board and you pay me for it.
So both and, yep.
Yeah. No more contract placements. I don't think I want to do contract placements anymore.
So yes, no counteroffer. I would love for you to create a visual or whatever you want to do and send it to me of this is the picture. This is the mix. This is my sweet spot. That's what I want. Here's the dollars. Here's the numbers. Here's the description. I
can do that.
By when will you send that to me?
Friday.
Okay. So notice your body right now and what's coming up and what you feel of you being the kind of human who takes crisis, who takes danger and does turn it into opportunity.
I'm a badass.
This is not the first client to realize they are a badass at the end of a coaching session. A crisis is the perfect opportunity to reconsider what you really want. My classic coaching question, if you can have it the way you want it, what does that look like? Keva is using this moment to clarify what she does and doesn't want going forward, to fully claim her value, to let go of what no longer serves, to redesign. How incredibly empowering. Keva is using this moment of family crisis to clarify what she does and doesn't want going forward, to fully claim her value, to let go of what no longer serves, to redesign. How incredibly empowering. What do you want? Will you write it out? How can you transform your crisis challenge into your best possible opportunity? When will you take the first step? Coaching always includes tangible action, commitment, and accountability. I love how our past growth moments shine a spotlight on current possibilities. When you are most challenged, look to see what wisdom you can leverage from your past. You can find out more about Keva. I've included everything in the show notes, her website, LinkedIn, and her must-have email newsletter for anyone in a creative field. Please share your crisis or challenge and what you walked away with today. I am visualizing beautiful doors opening for you. Of course, you can have your own growth moment, one-on-one private coaching, or join one of my coaching groups or workshops. To get the scoop, visit thegrowthmoment.com and do subscribe, follow on your favorite podcast app and my YouTube channel. My extra ask today is to rate and review the podcast if you have been enjoying these moments. Now, get out there and grow today.